Brothers, we're extremely excited as we begin the fourth evolution of the Men of Iron. Just a few facts concerning the Men of Iron. To date, we have 414 men who have taken the Men of Iron challenge to date. You receive weekly emails from me essentially outlining opportunities to address the 7 areas of fitness as that have been identified by the Enon Men of Iron. The Men of Iron Challenge is something that we have done annually, and of course, again, this is the 4th iteration, but what it's designed to do is to challenge us to dig deeper, challenge us to love God holistically, if you will, challenging us to be better men, better fathers, and better husbands in 7 critical areas, if you will: mental fitness, spiritual fitness, emotional fitness, physical fitness, financial fitness, social fitness, and lastly, martial fitness. I'll briefly explain what the 7 areas are and how we are encouraging you to engage with us. Spiritual fitness essentially speaks for itself. We're called as men to reorder our priorities as it relates to God. We do that through learning God. It was said that to know God is to know yourself, and to know yourself is to know God. So the only way that we can do that, of course, is through Bible study, reading the Bible, prayer, submitting to God in this corporate fast, if you will, fellowship, and even in stewardship. Physical fitness. The critique, if you will, of years past is that we've been very heavy on the physical aspect of the Men of Iron Challenge. Of course, our physicality is extremely important. As a father of 2 daughters, I had a conversation with them the other day, and essentially the conversation was, I'm going to do my part to be around as long as I can, as healthy as I can. My prayer, of course, is to see you graduate from college. My prayer at some point that you would find someone and marry them, and that I would be able to walk you down the aisle. But I'm also understanding that I will not be around forever, and my prayer is that I'm sowing enough into them that you can see, that I can say to you that you can make it from here. So holistically, whether it's cardiovascular training, whether it's weight or strength training, whether it's martial arts, whether it's boxing, I'm always concerned about the physicality, my physicality, and just making sure that I'm honoring my body and honoring God through the body that He's given me through the precious Holy Spirit. Mental fitness essentially is we're just striking a balance between our social life, our spiritual life, and our economic challenges that we may face. So mentally, of course, we're called to enjoy life. So I absolutely want to enjoy aspects of my life. But if I were to speak to you as a therapist or a social scientist, we would know, or you may have heard in Psychology 101, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And essentially, there's some very basic needs that have to be met, whether it's security, it's shelter, it's those things. But at the top of the pyramid, he talks about self-actualization, being all that you can be. We would say, we have been created with purpose, and God has created us with purpose. And our goal in this is to find what that purpose is sooner than later and walk in it. So I want to keep my mind focused on Him. I want to keep my mind focused on heavenly things. We challenged the men during our meeting. If you grew up during the rap era, and especially the gangster rap era, there was this group called the Trigger Happy Ghetto Boys. and they had a hit with Bushwhack Bill and Scarface, and the hit was, or the hook of the song was, "My mind is playing tricks on me." And absolutely, we find that to be the case. There's times when mentally we're living beneath God's promises. We feel like we're less than, and the adversary plays upon those. So mentally, we're not as strong as we could be or should be. Mentally, we're not operating at our A game, and mentally, Satan is winning. Emotionally, the same. As men, we tend to not address the negative feelings. So the emotional goes very close to the mental, but addressing the internal voices that we hear, understanding that I'm a man and I'm not devoid of emotions. So because I have emotions, I have feelings, I need to, if I will, corral those emotions, that they are healthy. During the deliverance ministry, we talk often about healing damaged emotions. But for me to know what those emotions are, I've got to first face the fact that, I have some emotions, I have some issues, I have some stuff that I need to work on. And then I got to trace it back to its origin, which could mean it's even before you. So it could be a father, a grandfather, it could be another family member where something happened to trigger or to, if we will, impart negative messages in our minds that ultimately affect us even in our adulthood, and then ultimately replace those negative emotions and remind myself who God says I am. We're more than a conqueror in Him. I am the head and not the tail. Greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. So we want to address what we would call, again, in the drug and alcohol community, we want to address the stinking thinking. Financial fitness is really, really important. It's a stewardship issue. It's a stewardship issue. God has given us the ability to make money, to work, and even if we're not making as much as we'd like, we still have to be stewards of that which the Lord has given us. So understanding what it means to create a budget, to work, to live within your means, to create a plan if I'm in debt and how to get out of debt. And I am not, in my own home, I'm not the expert, if you will, but I am the spiritual head of my household. So I work closely with my wife, and she, with her wisdom and understanding financially, how we're to live our lives. I lead spiritually, but where I'm not as strong, I've actively sought help. So financially, again, we may not be the experts. We may not even be the primary breadwinner in our homes, but we understand what God says around finances. To borrow money makes us slave to the lender. So we have to be very careful there to live within our means, live in a manner which honors God ultimately. And then social fitness, again, building healthy relationships with men. Brothers need brothers. That's one of the gifts, I think, of being here at Enon. We absolutely, positively have a pool of men. So whether they're older men that I can holler at and ask them how did they navigate this, or if it's my peers, I'm not alone in the stuff that I'm going through, or if the Lord calls me to minister to or support someone who's younger than I. Socially, one of the greatest tricks of the enemy, again, is to isolate us and make us feel like we're the only one going through. And so essentially when we're isolated, when we're left alone with that stinking thinking that we alluded to before, Satan has a field day. Sad, but true. So even socially, as I'm called to, whether it's to work with big brothers and big sisters of the Southwest PA, whether it's to support a ministry that's created at Martin Luther King High School, to walk the halls, to provide a male presence, whatever that is, that's what we're called to do. But the only way we do that is because we're healthy. And so healthy men are able to be a blessing to others above and beyond themselves. And then lastly, the martial piece of this is, again, um, not that we encourage persons to go out and fight, but for me, my goal is to come home every day. I understand we live in a fallen state. We live in a world that doesn't care about us. And I have people who are depending on me. My wife and my children depend on me to come home every day. So if I'm out in a world that doesn't respect that and they want to take my life, I really feel like Jesus in this moment. No man can take my life. You know, if it's to happen, I give it, and I give myself away, more so in service. But you know, learning the art of self-defense, learning how to marshal, and which means simply that to a defense, a military state, learning some basic things that I need to do to just make sure that I come home every day. So again, whether that's weapons training, whether that's boxing, whether it's the Krav Maga that's being taught by Pastor Waller, whether it's, again, some mixed martial arts concepts, I'm always thinking of ways to protect myself and also be a protection to my family if need be. Accountability. We're asking brothers to choose an accountability partner, someone that's going to hold them accountable around this process. So the process has begun. What we're asking you to do is now to work hard between now and October, tracking what you're doing. So electronically you'll receive emails which enable you to input in the 7 areas that you've accomplished for the week and submit that to us electronically. We'll make the cards available, the paper copy, if you will, available at the kiosk in the foyer at Enon East, and we'll put some in the rear narthex at Enon West. But once a week, you fill out the card. Hey, I came to church. Hey, I went to Bible study. Hey, I went to the gym. Hey, I went to the museum with my children. Hey, I'm taking piano lessons. Hey, I've decided to learn another language because I want to improve myself mentally and emotionally. Hey, whatever that is, I capture that, I put it on the card, and it's confidential, so we'll actually store that for you confidentially, that if you were to ask at year end or programs end, what does your year look like, we can give you a printout of that. You'll receive, there's a Facebook page for Men of Iron, there's information there. Absolutely. Again, the online activity card is really important. You can text me at 267-625-1490 if you'd like to reach out to me, or if for whatever reason this was forwarded to you and you're not receiving emails from me and you would like to join the Men of Iron. It's not a pass or fail concept for the year, but again, it's essentially brothers who are striving and taking a personal challenge to improve themselves in those 7 areas. If you'd like to email me, I can be emailed lmiles, M-I-L-E-S, at enontab.org. I hope you find this helpful. You can, again, like us on Facebook at Enon Men of Iron. On Facebook, we also have a Twitter feed. So we want to engage you regularly so that you know that you're on track. As we're in this season of prayer and fasting, we absolutely want to encourage you in this moment, again, that God would be pleased. So we would say it as we come to a close. God bless you. God keep you is our prayer. Men of Iron, 4th Evolution, Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church, 2015, the year of our Lord.
1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. Yeah, come on. 1, 2, 3, 10. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Beautiful. 2, 3.